Imagine being so wealthy that simply giving away your money changed the economy of an entire kingdom. Not a company, not a government, just one man. It sounds impossible, almost like a legend passed down through generations. But more than 700 years ago, deep in the heart of West Africa, a king possessed so much gold that his name became known across continents. His name was Mansa Musa. Historians still describe him as one of the wealthiest individuals in recorded history. Some believe no one has ever matched his fortune. Others argue his wealth was simply too vast to calculate. But here's the real mystery. How does one human being become so rich that his actions affect the economy of another kingdom? To uncover that answer, we have to journey back to an empire so powerful that many people today have never even heard its name, the Mali Empire. Long before Europe discovered the riches of the New World, there was already an empire so wealthy that merchants crossed one of the deadliest deserts on earth just to reach it. This was the Mali Empire. At its peak, it stretched across much of modern-day Mali, Senegal, Guinea, Mauritania, Burkina Faso, Niger, and parts of neighboring regions. It controls some of the richest gold deposits the world had ever known. Historians believe that during the 14th century, nearly half of the old world's known gold may have originated from West Africa's trade networks. But gold wasn't the empire's only treasure. Another resource was almost as valuable: salt. Today, salt is something most people barely think about. But 700 years ago, salt preserved food, protected lives, and in some regions, it was traded almost weight for weight with gold. The Mali Empire controlled both: gold from the south, salt from the north, and between them, thousands of camel caravans crossed the scorching Sahara carrying unimaginable wealth. Every journey was dangerous: blistering heat, sandstorms, bandits, thirst, yet merchants kept coming because beyond the desert waited the richest empire they had ever heard of, and at its center was a city whose name would soon become legendary: Timbuktu. But the greatest treasure of Timbuktu wasn't its gold. It was something far more valuable: knowledge. And that is where our story takes an unexpected turn. Long before Oxford became famous, long before Harvard was even founded, there was already a city in West Africa where thousands of students traveled from across the known world to learn. That city was Timbuktu. From the outside, it didn't look extraordinary. Its buildings were made of mud. Its streets were covered in sand. To an ordinary traveler, it looked like another city on the edge of the Sahara. But appearances can be deceiving, because behind those humble walls was one of the greatest centers of learning the medieval world had ever seen. The heart of that knowledge was Sankor, not a university like the ones we know today. It was something far more remarkable: a vast network of scholars, teachers, libraries, and students spread across the entire city. People traveled for months, crossing dangerous deserts, risking their lives just to study there. They came from Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, across West Africa and beyond. They didn't come searching for gold. They came searching for knowledge. Inside Timbuktu, students studied subjects that might surprise you: astronomy, mathematics, medicine, law, geography, philosophy, economics, even complex trade systems that connected kingdoms across Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. Every lesson was written by hand, every book copied carefully by skilled scribes. No printing presses, no machines, only ink, parchment, patience, and extraordinary dedication. As the centuries passed, Timbuktu collected thousands upon thousands of handwritten manuscripts. Some contained scientific discoveries, others recorded history. Some explained medicine, others explored the stars. Many were decorated with breathtaking Arabic calligraphy and beautiful geometric designs. These weren't ordinary books. They became some of the most valuable possessions in the entire empire. In fact, certain manuscripts were worth more than gold. Families protected them generation after generation, sometimes hiding them inside walls, underground, or in secret rooms. Even today, many of those priceless manuscripts still exist. But if this city held so much knowledge, why did the rest of the world forget it? Why were these incredible libraries almost lost forever? The answer begins with war, with invasion, and with one of the greatest tragedies in African history. And that is where our story continues in chapter 4. The library still stood. Their shelves overflowed with knowledge. For generations, scholars protected them. Families treasured them. Students crossed the Sahara just to study there. It seemed nothing could threaten Timbuktu. But in 1591, everything changed. A powerful army marched across the Sahara. They weren't searching for knowledge. They came for power, for gold, for control. They carried weapons the defenders had never faced: gunpowder, cannons, arquebuses. When the armies met at the Battle of Tondibi, history changed forever. The mighty Songhai Empire collapsed. Soon the invaders entered Timbuktu. Fear spread through every street. Scholars knew the libraries would be their next target. Some manuscripts were destroyed, others were stolen. Many scholars were arrested, some disappeared. But then ordinary families did something extraordinary. Under the cover of darkness, they hid the manuscripts inside mud walls, beneath floors, in secret rooms. They risked everything, not for days, not for months, but for centuries. Because of their courage, thousands of priceless manuscripts still survive today. They remain one of Africa's greatest treasures, but those ancient pages still hold mysteries. The world is only beginning to understand, and those forgotten secrets may rewrite everything we thought we knew about African history. Our journey continues in chapter 5. What if the greatest treasure of the Mali Empire was never its gold? What if it was hidden inside thousands of dusty books, the world almost lost forever? When historians finally opened the surviving manuscripts of Timbuktu, they expected mostly religious writings, but what they found left many of them stunned. Inside those fragile pages were detailed studies of astronomy. Scholars carefully mapped the stars, tracked the movement of planets, and recorded lunar cycles centuries ago. Other manuscripts revealed advanced mathematics, complex calculations, geometry, business accounting, and practical methods used in trade across the Sahara. Then came the medical texts. Doctors described illnesses, recorded treatments, discussed surgery, and explained how to prepare herbal medicines using knowledge passed down through generations. There were books on law showing how judges settled difficult disputes, books on philosophy where scholars debated ideas about justice, faith, and human life. There were records of trade showing how merchants moved gold, salt, ivory, and other valuable goods across Africa and beyond. Some manuscripts even contained personal letters, poetry, and classroom lessons, giving us a rare glimpse into the everyday lives of people who lived over 600 years ago. Together, these manuscripts tell one extraordinary story. Timbuktu was not just a city of merchants, it was one of the greatest centers of learning the world had ever known. For centuries, families protected these priceless books in secret rooms, hidden chests, and underground storage, risking everything so future generations would never lose them. Today, many of those manuscripts still survive. They stand as powerful proof that Africa's greatest treasure was never only its gold, it was its knowledge. But those ancient pages leave us with one final mystery. If Mansa Musa built an empire rich enough to create and protect all of this knowledge, where did all that unimaginable wealth actually come from? That story begins in chapter 6.
Crimson sun sits on the rim of the sea.
Everyone calls Mansa Musa the richest man in history, but almost nobody asks the real question. Where did all that wealth actually come from? It wasn't luck, it wasn't magic, and it wasn't because he simply found gold. His wealth came from controlling one of the greatest economic empires the world had ever seen. Beneath the lands of the Mali Empire lay some of the richest gold fields on earth. Places like Bambouk, Bure, and later Galam produced enormous amounts of gold for centuries. This gold traveled north across the Sahara Desert toward North Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. Historians believe that during Mansa Musa's time, a significant share of the gold reaching the Mediterranean came from West Africa. But here's what made Mansa Musa different. He wasn't a miner. He didn't spend his days digging for gold. He ruled the empire that controlled the gold. The mines belonged to his empire. The trade routes passed through his empire. The merchants traveled under his protection, and every caravan paid taxes. Gold left Mali. Taxes stayed in Mali, but gold was only half the story. The Sahara hid another treasure that people needed every single day: salt. Today it seems ordinary. Back then it was priceless. Without salt, food spoiled, people became sick. Entire communities depended on it. In some markets, a block of salt could be traded for its weight in gold. Deep in the Sahara, places like Tagaza produced vast amounts of salt. Camel caravans carried it south, while gold traveled north, and every journey passed through Mansa Musa's empire. Every trade, every merchant, every shipment generated more wealth for Mali. Then there was the Niger River. It wasn't just a river, it was the empire's highway. Boats carried merchants, farmers transported crops, cities traded goods, markets flourished, the river connected the gold mines, the great cities, and the caravan routes into one powerful economy. Mansa Musa didn't become rich because he owned a single resource. He became rich because he controlled the entire system: gold, salt, trade, taxes, rivers, roads, markets. Everything worked together to make Mali one of the richest empires the world had ever known. But Mansa Musa's story was never just about gold. It was about vision, building cities, protecting knowledge, connecting kingdoms, creating opportunities, and building one of the greatest economic empires the medieval world had ever seen. That is why, more than 700 years later, historians still remember him as the richest man in history. But Mansa Musa's greatest adventure was still to come. He would leave Mali with a caravan so enormous and so rich that entire cities would stop just to watch it pass. His journey to Mecca would amaze kings, astonish scholars, and even change the economy of Egypt. That incredible journey is the next documentary here on History in Dusty. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next chapter of Mansa Musa's life is even more unbelievable than everything you've seen so far. I'll see you in the next adventure.
All right, family, that's a wrap for today. If you rocked with this episode, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you're locked in for every drop. Don't ghost. Slide to the comments and let me know your thoughts. Share it with your crew too. I'm Malvin. Catch you on the next one. Stay legendary, my people.